Somebody said 200 people. That's a decent, I mean, that's an okay turnout. I mean, you're thinking, like, we can put over 200 people in a place in fucking Rockville, Minnesota. You'd think you'd be able to put more than 200 people in a place in fucking Las Vegas, but...
Do you ever just lie for no reason at all, folks? You know, just all of a sudden, a big lie will spill out of your evil head there. And you don't even know why, you know, like, you know, a guy will come up and go, hey, you ever see that movie with Meryl Streep and the horse? And then you go, yes.
We got to talk a little bit about this Hackamania thing. The big Patrick Melton event that went down in Las Vegas. I say big because, god damn, that is a giant fucking guy. And I don't mean in like a, boy, he looks good kind of a way. I mean, are you all right?
Yeah, you just have a lot of cables all over.
I know, but...
I have a draggy foot. I'm sorry.
All right. Now he's gonna make it over to the bathroom now. At any rate, so the Hackamania thing happened this weekend. And I don't know how it went. I'm not going to sit here and, like, I could do the dishonest thing that Patrick does and go like, I was a disaster. It was the most terrible thing in the world. It was awful. I don't know how it went. Somebody said 200 people. That's a decent, I mean, that's an okay turnout. I mean, you're thinking, like, we can put over 200 people in a place in fucking Rockville, Minnesota. You'd think you'd be able to put more than 200 people in a place in fucking Las Vegas, but especially, like, he brought a bigger show in. Like, I think he brought in Carl and Dick Masterson, and you could only muster 200 people. That doesn't say good things for Patrick or Carl. Like, our show by itself, nobody else, just bringing our friends in and shit, and playing some beanbags and having a drunken comedy show brings in over 200 people. So I don't know if 200 you'd consider it a success. I mean, I consider it a fine crowd. It doesn't blow me away. But I heard there were streaming issues. People were saying in my chat yesterday that people should have gotten a refund, that there were all kinds of bad look, I don't know. I can only go based on what I've heard. And what I've heard is, quite frankly, not the best. And I also heard that the bed bugs thing, that's fucking gross. I mean, look, whether or not Patrick's thing went well or it didn't is not really of any kind of primary concern to me. But the fact that they had fucking people complaining about bed bugs is objectively hilarious. I don't care if I like you, I don't like you, or I kind of nothing you. Because like Patrick and Carl, I kind of nothing them. I know what they are. I know what their gimmick is. It's not really any kind of if they are trying to keep it a secret, they're not doing a good job. Like Patrick's whole thing is he's a steel toe guy. His audience is my audience. He only has it through my good graces. Carl's kind of become a pro wrestler. Carl used to have a show where he would find shows and he would critique them. Now Carl is like this, I don't know, he's like the nerdy kid who hides behind the football player and goes, and says we a lot when it's the other person. Carl became kind of a weird, kind of a, I don't want to say it because I liked the guy and we would talk on the phone and we would text and whatever, but he kind of became a bitch, unfortunately. By the way, I'm going to make a call right now. Carl is not going to say that he was wrong about the marriage thing being a work. He's going to spin it to where either he was kidding or, no, what I really said was, no, I didn't say it was a work. I said what it could be was this, that, or the other thing. He won't admit it. He's he got too wrapped up in the pro wrestling angle of it. He's got to do the Four Horsemen thing where the day after we saw you get the shit kicked out of you on TV, you've got to spin it that you guys are still the baddest motherfuckers who ever lived. But that is embarrassing for Carl that he goes, the divorce is a work. Nobody made him say the divorce is a work. Like, nobody gave him a reason to say my divorce was a work. But he decided to run out there and get out over his skis anyway, and now he looks like a fucking moron, which it's fine with me. You know, if the people who don't like you want to make mistakes, let them. Don't fucking get involved. But this bedbug thing at Hackamania, oh my God. And I heard that they did hold this thing at like a really dirty venue in Las Vegas because they couldn't afford any of the decent ones. And in like the arts district and shit, there's a lot of cheap, shitty places to hold events. Yeah, people said that. I also heard from people that they're like, all Patrick can do is talk about you. That's all he's got. The only thing he ever talks about is Steel Toe and how it bothers him that Steel Toe's numbers are better than him now and Steel Toe's doing better. Like, dude, you don't have to. Like, that doesn't have to bother you. You could just do you could do a show that you're proud of and that you don't have to sit there and be mad that we've gotten more traction than you lately. I mean, that's kind of odd. I don't think that way about you. But then again, your whole show depends on me. My whole show doesn't really depend on you. But, dude, fucking bed bugs, that's gross.
That's fucked up.
Somebody texted, I texted 5 people from last night, and they all said they woke up itching. I've already spent too much money on airfare, hotel, and expenses not to go. Nothing I can do about it now. They're everywhere. Everywhere. Probably the chairs in the main room. That's when I started itching, but I also sat out in the front by the merch table. So there were people getting fucking bed bugs from the Hackamania event with Patrick Melton. Dude,
Ugh.
I mean, it's fucking bed bugs, man. It's not like, oh, there were ants, there was a group that was in there before and they spilled some ice cream and it attracted some ants. It's fucking bed bugs.
Did the Hackamania thing like arrange the hotel accommodations? How is this Hackamania's fault if people booked a shitty hotel?
No, they're saying that they got it at the venue.
Oh, at the venue?
Yeah. There's people saying they got the bed bugs at the venue. Like the chairs and shit like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So you had a shitty live stream. People thought that the performances weren't funny. People who watched the live stream said, this is horseshit, this sucks. You barely had 200 people there from what I heard, which...
And now you might have a whole bunch of hotels that are going to have issues because now they'll have a bed bug problem to deal with.
Well, here's the thing. Like, if you throw your show, Carl's show, and other shows, like there were a lot of different audiences that were supposed to congregate for this thing, and the biggest you draw is 200. I mean, that's fine, but it doesn't impress someone like me. Like, our events draw over 200 people, and it's just our show.
Yeah, it's just our fan base.
But then again, that's what happens when you build a fan base on just hating other shit.
And it's internet wide. Like, a lot of people might hate our show or whatever show, and they go to those hateration hollerations in this dancery.
In these danceries, yeah.
But so while that's happening, they might be like, yeah, man, this is cool. And you're like, we're going to put on a group and a big event. Everyone's going to get together. Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm going to be there. And then they log off and they're like, yeah, but I got shit to do that weekend.
Right.
So
Exactly.
it's just, it isn't something you're invested in. Because, again, if you don't hate all the time, you don't have a need for it.
Yeah. So I guess I don't know if Hackamania went well. I don't know if it went poorly. All I know is the negatives were shitty streams, Patrick Melton has fat back titties, and bed bugs. That's what I know. And if the 200 people thing is correct, it's mild for the amount of shows you had. Like, if you do a Minnesota event where it's like Steel Toe and, you name a show that's like, who are these podcast size? We draw at least 300 or 400 people. At least. But, I mean, again, it's kind of like Johnny said. Patrick's whole show is based on me. My troops, my people who like or hate me aren't going to go see a thing because you're there. They'd go to hate me.
Yeah. If Patrick had you on and it was like this thing where like, oh, we're going to have our showdown on stage or whatever, then you're going to sell some tickets.
Right.
Because then haters are like, I'm going to go there just so I can scream he's a cuck from the audience.
Yeah. BJ with $2. Melton and can't keep Aaron out of their mouth. That's thank you, BJ. 383 Novocaine with $2 says, at least at a Steel Toe show, it's just herpes. Exactly. Just herpes at a Steel Toe show. Don't get it twisted, as the kids say. So yeah, I don't have a lot of, there's no interesting video out of Hackamania. There's no fascinating stuff. It seems like one of those events where they took whatever money there was, slid it into their back pocket, and then out the fucking door. Patrick doesn't do stand-up anymore. I don't know if I think he's afraid to do stand-up because he's kind of scarred from the booing and the hecklers getting the best of him. And there's, videos of him just walking off stage almost in tears because a heckler fucked with him. I think maybe a stand-up isn't for him anymore. Also, somebody said that they are firmly of the belief, since he lied about getting married, and he had like some anniversary, like wedding anniversary show where he raised a bunch of money from people, and then people found out he wasn't
not even married.
He's not even really married.
What a cock!
I'm thinking that he might not even be engaged.
He just has a roommate.
Yeah, because he had no money after all the Red Bar shit. And he didn't make, before me, he didn't make any money. And I don't know if he's making any money now, but he certainly didn't make any money before me. So that's only been a year or so that he's been raking in any kind of money. So I think this woman might have just been letting him live in the basement for cheap rent to help out with the mortgage. I don't know if that engagement thing is on anymore. I think this may just be a roommate feeling sorry for him situation. Which is understandable. He's a big, fat fucking ogre.
That makes me feel better about my life, though.
Well, that's
so thank
good.
you. Thank you, Patrick. You didn't need to do that for me. I'm grateful.